Malola maria hau eiki mai lelei ai tonga hono kotoa. Fia ke utalitali lelei ki mautol ki homo uni o ngongo mai lei te okai o Afrika Television e tonga ki he hauani. Makai koe kengai ulu i o ngongo. Ha elea e en afifio ki ntupo wona mo kuini na naspau ai wau tanak tu unga University Pacific tonga wa i tonga ni e pongpongi oi ahoni. Holo kau kantite iti o kweipa ke whiriwhare alea me he pesete hiwataha ki he pesete e anoa i he whakahoa ki he tau uanoa hongofulu. Pea we ke veke kakai he tōku i kolo o hapai i he maa i moa whilotei ai tahine prinsesi Latu whipeka i he enau tui i tokoni ki hono toi whakamo ui ngahi tala mi ono aho kua moria. E te ia ipe me ngahi tala noa ki he enaiangi whataha me wakai ki whamini taha me he mala e o sipoti ka uma awhi whamatala ea ka wakai lewa eni ki he whakaikiki ko au senolita tui vai. Nai ha elea he ena awhi whion king topo wona mo kuini na naspau ai o au tanak tu unga University Pacific tonga wa a i tonga ni i he pongpongi oi ahoni. Nai whakahoko eni i he whale mamata anga spoti ako maalunga a tonga. Nai whafofua ke ofi i he toko wangi au tupu e whana wako ne whailonga i honau pe mauai e nau ngahi tohi whamo ni ako me he university i he taoni. Betsy Blake i lolahia mai whakaiki ki tala noko ia ki hauani.
Ko hono ha elea eni e ene awhio, o whaki atu ai ngahi toi whakamo oni ako ai whanau ako, i hono lakanga koe pule whakalanglangi oi university. Koe aho oi hakailangi tau mo whakawhetai, pea utu mo hiwa fia, ko mau e he whanau ako ko nau i kuna i ngahi whenga ako i he taoni, he university, i he ola ko nau mau me he toka kawa ni nau whai mai, he ngahi taulahi i he malae oi ako. I he wahe fia e whakafofonga me whanau wako ko nau i kuna i whenga ko i he tauni, ko fuatino tangi tau na ane pehe, ko e nau i kuna, i he e nau kau whakatahape mo i otua. Ai ana ni manatua i ke tōwhalafola a ene a whio i he hilipe ai whakai wahai pai mo ngāwhi hunga tonga hunga haapai, ko e otua pe hotau maluanga mo i mālohinga. Pehe e tangi tau, whenga na e whai na e whonu i he pole o kaukiai ai ngahi whakangatangata i he COVID tahahiwa, mo i whakai waha he wāwhe wowa, ka ko nau i kuna kotoa pe i e nau kau mo e eiki. Nāne pehe, neongone lahe taimi na e mate ai uhi la, whakangatangata e nau mau e interneti, ka ne nau kei whenga pe ho nau lelei taha, i he iwi malawa o nau mau, ke whakakakato e nau ngahi fie mau whakaako. Pehe e tangitau, ko ola e nau āhenghengi mo i mohe tuai, he ko nau i kuna kotoa pe. I he whakamatala e tokoni pule whakalanglangi o university, mo i sea he koslio pule o university, sio siwa utoi ka manu, na ne whakaloto lahi he ni ke whanau ako, ke wahe atu e nau ilo, pea ngāwe i e poto mo ilo ko nau mau, ma e langa whakalakalaka ai whonua. Koe ni ihi ne mau whakamo oni ako i he ahoni, ne kau ki ai aki nau tolu mau whakailunga certificate, diploma, postgraduate, mo i ngahi whakailunga maalungange o kau ki ai mai matai tohi PA. Ma ai o ngongo ale te oma television e Tonga, ko au Betsy Blake i lolahia.
Kua mau maali e kaukanti te iti o nau veipa ke te whili whalea lea i he ahawa noa o i mahina katu o. Pē ko hai tene hamusi ai sea i he ngahi wāhe ngā taktaha o ta taupe i he kauwhawhawhonga kakai mo i kauwhawhawhonga no pele. O whiunga whakatoa me kau kantiteiti e toko fitu taha o veipa ke whili o e tauni. I he whai ke eke o ngonga le o Tonga me supervisor whai Filipi Tavoki nane pehe. Whatatau ke whili whalialea e whāko hili o kamata mi he ta ua noa hangofulu o ko alupe ke holo ai kau kantiteiti o knau le sisita ke nau kau i he whili whalialea. I he ta ua noa hangofulu ko kau kantiteiti whakatoa e toko te au whawhitu ko ka kai tangata e toko te au toluono mo ka kai whewhine e toko tahataha. Ta ua noa taha wha ka kantiteiti e toko te au maono. Ka kai tangata e toko hiwa noa mo ka kai whewhine e toko taha ono. I he ta ua noa taha whitu ko kantiteiti whakatoa e toko waluono. Ka kai tangata e toko whitu taha mo ka kai whewhine e toko taha nima. Ko e ta ua noa ua taha na e kantiteiti e toko whitu tolu. Ka kai tangata e toko ono taha mo ka kai whewhine e toko taha ua. I he tauni ko ka kantiteiti pe e toko whitu taha, ai a kauke ka kai tangata e toko ono tolu, mo ka kai whewhine e toko walo. Hoke e tokanga ke alupe ke holo ai ka kai o knau loto lahi ke nau veipa, ma ai leo ai ka kai ki whalealea. Nei te pehe e vuki, ko i ola kau le sisita ke kau no pele i Tongatapu ni, o whiunga mo e toko ono. Le sisita ai kantiteiti whafafunga no pele o vavau mo e toko wha, haapai mo e toko tolu, e ua mo e toko wha, pea koe ongo niwa koe toko taha pē. Hok mahino koe no pele na e kantiteiti i ongo niwa na e toko taha pē, pea kune maua i pē whafafunga no pele ai ongo niwa, ai a ko no pele fotofili. I he kau kantiteiti koia i he ngahi wahenga ko Tongatapu ulaki koe toko tolu, Tongatapu wā koe toko ua, Tongatapu tolu mo e toko ua, Tongatapu wha koe toko wha, Tongatapu nima mo e toko tolu, Tongatapu ono mo e toko ono, Tongatapu fitu mo e toko fitu, Tongatapu walu koe toko fitu, Tongatapu hiwa koe toko wha, Tongatapu hongofulu mo e toko wha. I he kau whawafonga kwei pā me he tōku i motu ko e watahataha kwei pā e kau kantiteiti e toko wha. Hapa i taha ua mo e toko ono, hapa i taha tolu mo e toko nima, wawa utaha wha mo e toko tolu, wawa utaha nima mo e toko nima, wawa utaha ono mo e toko ua, pea mo ni wataha fitu mo e toko wha. Kua osmau maali e ngahi whika e kau kantiteiti taktaha i ngahi wahinga, i hile whama opo ai o la i he whiawhi ane a whi. Nei te pehe e voki o kumahino ku ia ngahi makatu unga, o pau ke Moimoi pau ke kau kantiteiti ko e ni, kai malama ke nau hoko ko e kau kantiteiti. O kau ke whima o ke whamu one kau pōpō e toko ni manoa ke te knau tolu, me he wahinga taktaha. Tatonge pa anga whange au ai le sisita, pe ke ikai ke iai, ha mo ua au te eke totongi i he whakamau a ngā. O te iai pe me ngahi mea kehuk sivi ia ke kau kantiteiti, ka o kumahino o ka mau i hataha ai lao o tutu uni ke nau Moimoi pau ke ai, e pau ki ha i whamau anga. Kai ke he koe mau ko eni ai lise kau kantiteiti, e hoko atu lewa ki he palani ngau e teo e whili. Au amana ke whili kau whawhafonga kakai i he taimi hiwa pongpongi ke he whae whiawhi, i he ahua noa o e mahina kato u. Kai whili kau whawhafonga no pele i he taimi hongofuru pongpongi ke he taha waho ata i he aho tatau pe. Mai o ngonga le te o me televisione Tonga ko au snolita tu i vai. Kua hake whalakalaka, pia moholia te ngahi talatuku whaholo me ngahi mātanga i loa lahi me i tongani, mohonau ngahi uhinga, ai nei i loa i he kohili i tongani. Ka i he ahoni, ko veke mo whetaki ni mai e ka kaitoko lahi i tongani, pe i he ngahi tōku i kolo i hono ngahi mo whailonga i ngahi mātanga i loa ko ia, mātuunga i he oko ko whai i he tahine princess i Latu peka i he ene mā i moa whelotei.
Ko e mai moa whelotei ai tahine princess i Latu peka, ko e konga ia i he neo kōko ma ene mai moa ko i University whawhanua o Australia. I he whamatala ai taho e kaumata pule whaiwhatongia o Moimoi holo i he mai moa e tahine, ne pehe ai e uhi. Ko e mai moa maho i ngā eni o i kai ngata pe mai mai moa ko e tahine princessi, ka ako toko ni lahi mai moani, ki hona whai via mo whai ai e kakai i ngai tōku i kolome ngai tōku i moto, ke toko ngai kina makehi mo toi ngahi whalelei ai ngahi matāwhanga, pe mātanga i loa mo i tōku whakaholo ne i loa aki i he ngahi kolome ngahi moto takitaha mi he kuohili.
Ki he o ngahi mātanga na eri aki au pitoia. O wau peke ngahi vai, na o si tanu mia ia. Kai he mea to e tahine o whakalanga i e nau manatu ki e kuohiri, uhinga koe ngahi i mātanga iloa au nau kolo. O tupu ngai e nau hanga ngahi mo e toi whakamo ui, e ngahi mātanga koe ana e tanu mia, ai vai. Hange koe nau hanga whakari eri aki e tala e uhinga e ngahi ika. Tala tuku whakaholo. O ku nau hanga o a au mai o ku nau kore ko nau ka inga ke o tumuri. Ke nau o mai mo e nau ilo mo e nau whakaukau. Ke o atu ia ke whai aki e whau e pepa tahine. Koe mea kua au ki ai. Hange ko ine mea mai mei tonga lawa ka katoa tonga. Kua mau maarie pia whakaofo ofa. Hono ngahi tanu mo e ngahi hala. Ko hunga koe mai moa tahine nai mea tuai. Hono whakatoa malo pia mo e mea holo tahine. Ke whakalanga manatu ai ki he kakai o tonga. Ke nau foki. Foki o ngahi e ngahi mātanga ko ia. Nai iloa ai e whonua. Pia mo nau tauhi e ngahi tala koe ho nau whonua. Ho nau kolo koe uhinga. E koe mea mahu inga ia. E ko alupe taimi. Moria te kakai na nau mau. Kukukuku e ngahi tala ko ia. Pa te tau alu rewa loi rewa hauka te kahau.
Ka wike hono tahataha ki enie mā i moa whilotei, a ia kua katoa Tongatapu ni kai hoa kātu ke wahi whanua haapai, a ene ka mata i ka wai ha ano i he wike ni. I he mea a ahi e tāhine ki ha ano na e taritari whiawhia ia e ka inga no pele tu hea ngana, o taki mai a leiti tu hea ngana, mo i ka mata pule tauhi whanua pe ki e ka pule whawahe i ka wai. Ni ka mata pe hono taritari e tāhine ene mea o fulau i he kalia wakalau tala i he whanga ko loto tā atu ke mea hanga tonu ai ki he one pe ma oto o tā. Nei whakato o tātou ai pe moi haunga e tāhine me ka ai ngā pehe ki hono whai e ngai whakame i te whiawhia me i he whānawa ko. Nei tatau ai moi ha ai whiawhia e ka ai ngā ano i he mea ahi atu e tāhine mo ne mā i mua whilotei ke lawe mono wai ho nau motu ka koe whainga mālie ke wahe atu ai ai tuku whakaholo me ho nau motu pia ke tauhi ma ai ka hao. Ai ne whai ai o wau ilo kawa e ka inga me tāhine prinsesi ka koe o wawanga mahenia i he mā i mua whilotei ke hui au whakanofo atu ai ai ka inga i he motu mo e kolo ke whiwahe aki mo whakaha atu e nau ngahi ilo whakau aki mo e tuku whakaholo pe ngahi mātanga i loa i ho nau motu ki he oko o ku whai i he tāhine prinsesi koe mā i mua whilotei pe he e uhi o ku whakatau hingoa eni ki e taimi o ku tōli atua i e ngai kakala mahu inga ko toa pe atonga i e kohili ki e sia ke ngauhi aki halolo na ati mo o nia ma ai tākai lolo ai to i tonga ai au i loa ia koe lote pe koe taimia o ku kei mea holoa i e tāhine o tānaki mo whama popo mai e ngai tala tu whakaholo mo e mātanga i loa atonga. E toki na pangapanga maalie e ngāwe mo mau ai tohi e tāhine pe koe kakato ia ai whelotei pe mā i moa ai tāhine. Ke ke heo koa te mā i moani ki li fōkai wike kaha o me amanaki ke kakato kotoa ki a wike whakaosi o e māhina ni.
Pea koe uhiga te wā ke whamana tua o e tā o te au ni manoa o koni stūtone i tonga ni. O ke iai pe e whie mao ke uluak mahinoi i he kakai o tonga ai koni stūtone. I he mahino, koe tako lahi kakai i tongani o i kai ke nau ilo i mo mahinoi ai koni stūtone a tongani. Li te atau kapo, nei i he polokalamani o mai whaiki ke talanoa koe a ke hawani.
Nā e whakahoko ane awhia polokalama tala noa a toki tāmala kai ko loa matangi, whekau aki me whakalakalaka me ngahi tau mua o i koni stūtone a tongani. Nā whakahoko ai polokalama ko e nipa me kau whai ako me whānau ako o i University Whakawhanua a Tonga. Pehe e toke tā ko loa matangi ko koni stūtone o ku kongaia e tolu. Ai ako ono whakalau i o to tonu me tau a taina ai kakai, whaunga o e puleanga, me whalealea, mo e kele. Koe ngahi konga lalahia e tolu o e koni stūtone. Nāne toi pehe ko koni stūtone o iai e ngahi kupuai o ku lava pe o liliu. Whakatatau ko ngahi lao o whekau aki mo e kakai o e whanua.
Io, wena i kupu he stūtone o tapu ke whahala ki ai. Ngai we lawa ke sāpate. Tapu ke te iu, bere pula ke we lawa ko ia e tuku ia au ke pā mangalu e taimi. Tapu ke te whanoa alana ke. Me ko whawhae a rea taimi ni koe pehe. ame wa ngai fare ko lo ame ngai fare kai me wala me pe ko fere vela ka mahino pe pe ya e be ngai ku pe ke he ta na ke he rea ai ko ngai ku pe ki mu a ke ai to ta wa ta ina ke ngai ku pe ko ya o ku fa lo loto ya ne uhi ngai ke wa te lava ke to ta ke
Lolo tonga e ni nā ne toi pehe, ko taha ai ngahi lelei, nai mau e tonga mi hano whau oi ko nistu tone, nei kai ke iai hangahi uhinga lelei ki ngahi whanua i tō pule anga, ke nau pule au niuai i tō ngani. Nā e whakotua ko nistu tone i he tau taha walu fitu ni mā i he ene awhio siao stupo uluraki. Pama ngahi konga lalahi e ko nistu tone, ki ona whakalau i tō tonu me tau o taina e kakai, whaunga oi pule anga, ko whalea lea, mo e kele kele, ko taha ene ko nistu tone mo tua taha i he Pasifiki, peo ko amanaki foki ki kātonga i ai te au ni mano tau, oi ko nistu tone i he mahina katuu, ko whakailonga ia e tatake ko nistu tone ki he whanua mo e kakai. Ma ai o ngonga le te omu televisone tonga, kauri tea tau kapo.
Uni o ngonga whalatu ai ke Hawani, ko hoko i ni ko e whamimita hami he mala e o sipoti, pia mo pia o lie o kahili eni.
Malo benda ki whilonga ki ko e whakaini ki he mala e o sipoti.
O ku tau mai e tau timi whakawhonua ki tongani i he tūsite ka hau. Wai konga e tau whanau nau tau mai e taha pongpong. Pea ka kato me rewe timi whakato mo ka ofisiare he taimi tolu wanoa i he fiafi tūsite. Ai o whakato e tau timi ko toko wamfu mataha pe ko i mea i he kakai e whonua ko o si tuku atu i he social media mga lope. Pea tāna ke mo ka ofisiare ai whafufua nau toko tolu wono whakakatoa. Pea whairewa whainolo whakaosi koe na ulawe kia ni naiangi. Au whainolo e tahano whewhine ia. Au whainolo haka me ia pe mo vaini. Whainolo mo e timi si iwhe tau tawalu. Koe kaulaio ne ia akolo fo'ou. Pea mo e peau maami halal. Pea whainolo rewa mo tau open men. Ko e vau tāko ula, tima e toloa olpoi. Pea mo e whangalupe ko a vaini. Ko ne hiri koe prokalama koe whainolo ko ia pia. O ku whai e palani mo e whakaamu. E mui atu, ai ngahi kalapu, mo tau kakai, te ai fui floati whakaosi, mei teu whaiwa, ki fua motu, o whakaheke heka te tau whanau ke nau, whoki atu ki a seria, o teu tau loko whokeimi ko ia. Ko taimi koe na whakahoko atu ai ke poate kou nau toka ngai, e tawak whakapaanga koe ai whanau. Na nau whakamahino i mai, koe aho ko ia, ka pau te mou alu ki tonga whaifu i kemi koe ni, heka i ke mou ma o mo tolu mo allowance whakaho. Ko tari ko whirise ka fusi na ne whafofo ngai, hai whanau ko na nau tari ko i ke nau kau ke matamatanga, o whafofa pe sai pe te mau mo tungtong. Ko mau seniti ko e aho e nima pe wha ko e ne tonu ke mau, ke lawa whakatau, a e mau ngahi au sia ko e, mo au sia ho mau kakai, e mau foki api. Ko hiko i ki mea ko manatu ke whakalave, he whailau ko ne tau whanau te nau tu uta ne atu site, o koe ke nau mau, tapu me whanau, koe ke nau mau e nau allowance koe, he aho e whape nima koe te nau i tongane. Au tau peu nau hau tae wahe pe nau tolu. Na e koe tari koe na whafofonga e koe e kaufusi. He kai ke lawa he mau ki seni ta mau tolu koe ia o whatataui, ai a usia koe te mau he mau wholau ki tonga, mo e whahinga fia koe e mau he mau kakai, he mau whoki ang ki api.
Ko pia o li e mo whamimita me malai o sipoti, ko whakailewa eni ke tuunga o ea. Tuko mai me senta whamatala ea tonga whamotu pia mo pesa kuila.
Maloi lau mare ho eki pia moe lere e tonga kotoa, tai tari fia ki moutolu ki he e tau whamatala ea ko ia i he e fia fini. Ngahi tā noa lalah le vaino e aho whatonga i ange. Lai ke au fia pe fotunga langi ke kotoa pe ngahi vai whanua ko ia o tutonga, ia whenga maari ke ha ua tu moto ke whakatoke lau, tau te whito ki niwa whaou mo niwa Tongatapu. Whatonga i ange, te tau ke whiawa pe mo havili o kuangi mā lohi ke hako, ke kotoa pe ngahi vai whanua pe mo potahi ko ia o tutonga. Wakai le wani ke tau I misate lai te whatonga I ngai vai whanua ko ia niwa fo'o ka pefo ki niwa Tongatapu. Pa koe alo tamaki uha ko ngā ao matolo o kune ngā unu mai me whakatoke lau. Ke hango vai whanua ko ni he fia fini ke a pongpongi. Ai te palawa ke ne o mai ha uha tu umoto lolo lahi a ngai taimpia moha mana he poni ka pefo ke a pongpongi ki niwa fo'o mo niwa Tongatapu. Wakai le wani ngai vai whanua ko wawa uha apai Tongatapu pia mo ewa. Au fia pe fotunga langi a ngai taimi malape gai moa ua tu umoto to holo. Wakai le wani ke tau ngahi whakatokanga. Koe whatokanga ke ngai vai whanua koe tu pe whatokanga hako. Ke kotoa pe ngai vai whanua koe o tu Tonga. Whatokanga le wani ke ngai potu tahi, o koe tu pe whatokanga hako pe moe whare I ke whanki I waka iki, ke tokanga he o ki tahi ke kotoa pe ngai potu tahi koe o tu Tonga. Whakataha pe ki ai, moe whatokanga tahi lahi, ke kotoa pe ngai potu tahi ma tā whanga koe o tu Tonga, malape ke hoko hata awhia, tupu pe me he tahi lahi. Kai he Pasifiki ahi nima koe ka hoko mai whatonga iange. Alo maari o kune toka ki o tau potahi whakatonga tonga hake. Ai tene kei whetukutuku hake tau toka ngamatangi o angi pia mei he tonga hake. Ke kotoa pe ngai vai whanua koe o tu Tonga. Pia lahi ke alo maari e pe I he ahi nima koe ka hoko mai. Tuke hanga taimi au fia langi moa ua tu moto. Tau te whito ke ngai vai whanua koe a wawa uha apai. Tongatapu pia mo ewa. Kai tau whanongat koia he fia fini koia ki a hengi. Whatonga iange. Lahi ke au fia pe whotunga langi ke kotoa pe ngahi vai whanua koia o tu Tonga. Pea koe ha alo tāmaki uha o kune ngā unu mai ki niwa whaau mo niwa Tongatapu. He pōni ki a pongpongi. Pea malapa ke ne o mai ha uha tu moto lolo lahi a ngai taim pea moha mana. Pea mawhola mai pe ke vai whanua wawau a hengi ki ha uha tu moto. Malapa ke lolo lahi a ngai taimi. Lahi ke au fia pe whotunga langi tau te whito ki ha pai. Tongatapu pia mo ewa, tuke henga taime malape ke ha uha tu moto maa pe. Whatonga inge ko fua koe maa whana ma loa take pōni te kilise sia se wanoa ki Tongatapu pia mo ewa, pia ope ke te kilise sia se wa wha ki he ongo ni ua. Ke iangi pe tau toka anga matangi pia me he tonga hake o au ke meritahi, taha nima ke wanoa ke hoa, pia hiki haka o ke meritahi wa nima ke tau noa ke hoa, ke kotoa pe ngai potahi koia o tu Tonga. Koe tau whamatala ea lewan ka pongpongi, whatonga inge al tāmak uha koia I he ongo ni wagu ne ngā un mai pe ki wawa o pongpongi, malapake ne o mai ha au fia moha uha tu moto lolo lahi a ngai taimi, tau te whito, wai whanua wawa u, pia mo ongo ni wa, pia au mai pe ki haa pai, hoa tāi whiawhika pongpongi, kai pe he whoki ki Tongatapu, pia mo ewa. Ke iangi pe tau toka ngamatangi pia me tonga hake a pongpongi, mai le tahi tahanima ke wanoa ke hoa, pia hiki hake o ke mai le tahi, ua nima ke tau noa ke hoa, ke kotoa pe ngai potahi koia o tu Tonga. Malunga taha koe fua mawhana ke pongpongi, tiklise siase ua nima ki Tongatapu pia mo ewa, pia aupe ke tiklise siase ua fitu ki he ongo ni ua. Taimi hua pia moe mamaha koia o e tahi, tau maari e te mite nima ke hongo fulu he poni, maha toka ia o si wanoa me he whaa a hengi. Koe la a moe mahina, a manaki ke hopo la a pongpongi, o sta whaa me he ono, pia tō ia I he toi mite taha hiwa ke fitu e whiawhiko ia a pongi. Hopo mahina he poni o si mite whaa me hongo fulu, pia tō ia he osi ua pe me he hiwa a pongi. Whaos pia tau wakai ki he tau whamatala ea koe ki he aho e nima ka hoko mai ki Nuku'alofa, o ka mata I he sāpate koe a whaosinga wikeni, ki he tu apule lulu koe a oi wike kaha u whatonga iange, lahi ke alo maari e pe, tuke hanga taime au fia whotunga langi, pia moha uha tu moto tō holo, tau te whito ke sāpate koe whaosinga wikeni. Fua koe mawhana ke aho nima koe ka hoko mai ki Nuku'alofa, te grise sia se wawha ki he waono. Koe ka kato ia e tau whamatala ea, malo opito homo mea mai, ka mo mea.
Ko pesa kuila ia me whamimitaha o whamatala ea ki Hauwani, pia mai ka kato e peha mo uni o ngongo ki mo patau maawai, tato e wakaipeheni ke ngahi ulu i o ngongo. Ha elea e en awhiwhio ki ntupo wono mo kuni no naspau, ai wau tana tuunga University Pacific Tonga wa I Tongani, e pongpongi o ahoni. Holo kau kantiteiti o kweipā ke he whiriwhalealea me he pesete hiwataha, ki he pesete e anoa I he whakahoa ki he tau wanoa hongofulu. Pea weke ka kai he tōku I kolo o hapai I he maa I moa whilotei, ai tahine princesi Latu whipeka I he enau tui, tokoni ki hono toi whakamo ui ngahi tala me ono aho ko Moria. Pea me ka katoe peha mo uni o ngongo ki Hauwani, ma I e whakaamu, na e au tono atu ki loto whale, ai tonga hono kotoa. Whamalo te tau kei whiau mai, kua whanori tatu i vai ka nui.
Good evening and welcome to your English news package with radio and television Tonga News for tonight. Making headlines, graduates of the USB Tonga campus were honoured this morning as His Majesty King Tupou VI conferred their degrees. The Electoral Commission records a drop in the number of candidates registered for the upcoming election in comparison to the last election in 2021. And Her Royal Highness Princess Latu sparks renewed interest among communities in Ha'apai for traditional knowledge during her latest visit to the island group for Whelotoi research. We'll have these and more stories coming up later on in this bulletin, as well as the latest from sports and the weather update to wrap up this hour's news package. Now for the news in detail, I am Popoa Aho. Their Majesties King Tupou VI and Queen Nanasipa'u honoured the USB Tonga campus graduation with their presence this morning, where His Majesty conferred the graduates with their degrees in his capacity as Chancellor of the University. It was a festive occasion with close to 200 students graduating in front of a crowd of their proud friends and families, as well as many dignitaries celebrating the students' academic success.
Approximately 200 students graduated with degrees from the University of the South Pacific. The Pro-Chancellor of the University, Siosiwa Utoikamanu, described today as a moment of reflection, celebration, and quiet resolve, a time when legacy meets aspiration and every step forward carries the weight of what came before. He also paid tribute to His late Majesty Taufa'ahau Tupou IV, who was the first Chancellor of the University. His Majesty's bold vision for the university was that, through education, the people of the scattered islands might be united by shared opportunity and purpose.
Today, His Majesty King Tupou VI stands before us as our Chancellor, presiding over the same institution his father helped to imagine into being. This is legacy in its truest sense. Not simply inheritance, but continuity of vision, grounded in faith, foresight, and service. It is a legacy of belief that knowledge can lift every community, that education can empower every generation, and that learning shared across oceans can strengthen us all.
Meanwhile, Fuatino Tangitau, who represented the graduates, expressed gratitude to all families for their unwavering support. She acknowledged the many challenges they had faced, including the COVID-19 pandemic and the Hungatonga Hungaha'apai volcanic eruption, and emphasized that they overcame these obstacles by facing them with faith and keeping God at the center of their journey.
Throughout our journey to graduation over the last years, depending on our courses, we transformed obstacles into possibilities because God was always with us, providing what we did not have. When we embarked on the first years of our degrees, COVID restrictions took away our tertiary learning experience and independence, replacing it with guidelines and curfews, which made access to class, resources, and schoolmates difficult. Those of us from the outer islands always expected challenges. However, these new ones made the obstacles of our journey even trickier. Just as we adjusted to these COVID obstacles and settled into a new school life routine and norm, the Hungatonga Hungaha'apai volcano erupted. I refer to His Majesty's speech shortly after the disaster, quoting Psalms 36, 5-7, affirming that God is our refuge and strength.
Siosiwa Utoikamanu encouraged the graduates as they move forward on their individual journeys.
As you leave this place, remember that your degree is not a destination, but a beginning. You carry the responsibility of those who pave the way and the hopes of those who will follow. Your talent will open doors, but it is your integrity that will determine how long they stay open. You are the deliverers of our success. Your success will not be measured by what you earn, but by what you enable others to achieve. Be generous with your gifts. Share your knowledge freely. Keep your roots deep in your community, but let your vision reach beyond the horizon.
The graduation ceremony was the conferring of degrees in bachelor's degree level, master's, as well as certificates and diplomas in various fields. For Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Betty Blake, Ilolahia.
Sons and daughters of the Pacific, arise and declare the calling of achievement, sweet fragrant sound.
The registration of candidates for the November elections have now closed, with the Electoral Commission registering 71 candidates in total to stand in the election next month, which is a significant drop in the number of candidates compared to the previous election in 2021. The Supervisor of Elections, Pita Vuki, says that since 2010, there's been a steady decline in the number of registered candidates in the 4 elections since. In 2010, there were 147 candidates in total, 136 male and 11 women. In 2014, there were 106 candidates, 90 men and 16 women. 2017, there were 86 candidates, 71 men and 15 women. And in 2021, there were 73 candidates, 61 men and 12 women. And now in 2025, only 71 candidates have registered, with the number of women going down to a single-digit figure, 8. Vuki says this downward trend is concerning as it shows the continuous decline in the number of people willing to stand as candidates to represent the people in Parliament. As for the Nobles candidates, Vuki confirmed 6 have registered for Tongatapu, 4 for Vava'u, 3 for Ha'apai, and 4 for Ewa. With only a single candidate registering for the 2 Niuas, His Serene Highness Prince Kalaniuvalu Fotofili was declared the Nobles representative for the 2 Niuas. The final candidate numbers were confirmed following the close of nominations yesterday evening. The constituencies with the most candidates are Tongatapu 7 and Tongatapu 8, with 7 candidates each, which should make for an interesting contest among these candidates. Claiming the least number of candidates are Tongatapu 2, Tongatapu 3, and Vava'u 16, with 2 candidates each, making for a much closer race between the candidates in these constituencies. However, the Supervisor of Elections says as the registrations close, they are now looking to ensure that all candidates have met eligibility requirements, especially in regard to the outstanding court debts, as the Election Commission is also carrying out other legal checks. If any candidate is found to have broken the law, the matter will be dealt with in court. Following the finalization of this candidate list, the official campaign period will proceed, leading up to the election day on November 20th. Her Royal Highness Princess Latu is currently in the Ha'apai Island Group, continuing her academic research under the Australian National University, known as the Fellow Day Project. Her Royal Highness's research is focused on preserving and revitalizing Tonga's rich cultural heritage, especially in maintaining traditional knowledge of ancient cultural sites. And her visit to Ha'apai has sparked renewed excitement and interest among communities on this issue.
Speaking to Radio Television Tonga News, Talking Chief Fuhi, who is involved in the project, said it plays a significant role not only in Her Royal Highness Princess Latu Fuipeka's academic journey, but also in safeguarding traditional knowledge by encouraging communities to protect and revive their cultural sites, including beaches, lagoons, and other sacred places. This includes collecting names, meanings, and oral histories that may have been passed down through generations. The project is reaching out to communities across Tonga, including remote and outer islands. Villagers are gathering to share their local knowledge, stories, and traditions, a collaborative effort that strengthens cultural pride and awareness. Now in its 11th week, the Fellow Day project has completed its activities in Tongatapu and this week began work in Ha'apai, starting with the village of Ha'ano in Kauai. Upon her arrival in Ha'ano, Her Royal Highness Princess Latu was warmly welcomed by noble Tu'ihangana's people, led by Lady Tu'ihangana, alongside other talking chiefs and district officers. Her Royal Highness arrived ashore via a Vakalautala canoe, a traditional mode of transport that added cultural significance to her visit. The people of Ha'ano expressed their joy through heartfelt performances and traditional ceremonies. A kava ceremony was held where the community gathered to share oral histories, origin stories, and details about well-known traditional sites, all of which will contribute to the Fellow Day project. Chief Uhi explained the word Fellow Day comes from a past tradition where people collected the most sacred and fragrant plants to make a special ointment for the king. The name symbolizes Her Royal Highness's journey across Tonga to gather traditional knowledge and preserve it for future generations. Once all the information is collected, Her Royal Highness Princess Latu will compile it into a book marking the conclusion of the Fellow Day project as part of her academic work and leaving a lasting legacy for Tonga's cultural preservation. The project will continue next week in Lefuka and is expected to be completed by the end of this month. For Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Betty Blake, Ilolahia.
And as we approach the 150th anniversary of the Constitution, Tongans are being reminded of the importance of knowing and understanding our own Constitution. This was the call from Dr. Malakai Kolomatangi during a special lecture at the Tonga National University yesterday evening that brought together many students and members of the public to learn more about the Constitution and the need for all Tongans to understand this important document that is the foundation of the country.
In his lecture, Dr. Malakai Kolomatangi highlighted the significance of Tonga's Constitution, which was established by King George II in 1875 and is one of the oldest written constitutions in the Pacific. It is built on three key pillars: the rights and freedoms of the people, the form of government through the legislative assembly, and the powers of the king and the laws of the land. He told the audience that while some parts of the Constitution can be amended, its strength is that it has protected Tonga's independence and kept us free from foreign colonial rule, a unique achievement in the Pacific region. As the nation prepares to mark 150 years of the Constitution this November, Dr. Kolomatangi encouraged Tongans to learn more about its purpose and meaning. He said understanding the Constitution is not just for leaders, but for all Tongans, so that our founding document continues to guide and protect our people and our future. Reporting for Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Litea Taukapo.
That was the latest from the local scene. Up next, we'll join Pia Odia for the latest in sports.
Welcome back in sport. The Tonga Rugby League is preparing to host the national team next week as part of their build-up for the Pacific Championships. Committee member and NRL Tonga representative Sione Kafatolu Hangana told Radio and Television Tonga Sports News that all arrangements for the welcoming program have been finalized. He says the aim is to make the players feel the warmth and pride of returning home. The team arrives on Tuesday with community visits to schools and villages planned for Wednesday. A parade will be held on Friday, and Hangana is encouraging families and fans to come out and show their support. The week's celebration will conclude with the local rugby league finals at Deofaiva Stadium on Saturday, where fans are invited to cheer alongside the national team.
That was your sports news with Bia Olie. Now taking a look at the latest weather updates presented by Besakuila from the Tonga Met Service.
Good evening, Tonga. Welcome back to our weather forecast from Tonga Met Services. Our main story for this evening, we expect cloudy conditions for all of Tonga with a rainy to northern group, especially for Nuku'alofa and Tongatapu. But please take notes the continuation of fresh to strong winds for all of Tonga land and coastal waters as we progress in the next few days. For our satellite imagery, as you can see, there is a thick cloud moving from the north to approaching Nuku'alofa and Tongatapu for tonight and tomorrow with a mostly cloudy with occasional rain, possibly heavy at times with isolated thunderstorm. Looking for Vava'u, Hapai, Tongatapu and Ewa, cloudy at times with possible scattered showers. For our current warnings for land areas, a strong wind warning remains in force for all of Tonga land areas. Warning for coastal waters, a strong wind warning and small cloud advisory remains in force for all of Tonga coastal waters, with an extreme high tide remains in force for all of Tonga coastal waters. Across the region the next 5 days, there is a high pressure system sitting to the southeast of the group, which circulates an east to southeasterly wind flow across the Kingdom of Tonga with a mainly fine weather apart from cloudy periods with possible isolated showers. Let's bring in the weather closer to home into Island Division. From this evening to early tomorrow morning, we expect mostly cloudy across the Kingdom of Tonga with an occasional rain over to the further north for Nuku'alofa and Tongatapu. And this trough expect to move and approaching Vava'u by tonight with an occasional rain, possibly heavy at times. But for Ha'apai, Tongatapu and Ewa, mostly cloudy with scattered showers for tonight and tomorrow. For the winds, southeasterly winds 15 to 20 knots and rising up to 25 to 30 knots for all of Tonga coastal waters. And the overnight minimum temperature of around 20 degrees Celsius for Tongatapu and Ewa across to the newest of around 24 degrees Celsius. Forecast for tomorrow, we expect a similar condition with a mostly cloudy with occasional rain over to the further north for Nuku'alofa and Tongatapu and also Vava'u group. But this trough is expected to approach Ha'apai group and also Tongatapu by tomorrow afternoon with an occasional showers, possibly heavy at times. For the winds, southeasterly winds 15 to 20 knots and rising up to 25 to 30 knots for all of Tonga coastal waters for tomorrow. And the maximum temperature for tomorrow, 25 degrees Celsius for Tongatapu and Ewa, across to the newest of around 27 degrees Celsius. For the tide prediction, high tide 9:55 p.m. tonight, low tide at 4:20 a.m. early tomorrow morning. Sun and moon, sun will rise at 6:14 a.m. tomorrow morning and will set at 6:41 p.m. tomorrow evening. Moonrise 10:04 p.m. tonight, moon set at 9:02 a.m. tomorrow morning. Wrapping up with our 5 days outlook for Nuku'alofa, starting this Sunday until Thursday next week, we expect fine weather except this Sunday with a possible scattered showers, but generally fine for the next 5 days for Nuku'alofa, and a maximum temperature of around 24 to 26 degrees Celsius. Malo opito, see you next time.
Thank you to Bessa and the team at the Tonga Met Service for that latest weather update, wrapping up this hour's news package. Now, before we part, here's a final look at tonight's top stories. Graduates of the USB Tonga campus were honoured this morning as His Majesty King Tupou VI conferred their degrees. The Electoral Commission records a drop in the number of candidates registered for the upcoming election in comparison to the last election in 2021. And Her Royal Highness Princess Latu Rebecca sparks renewed interest among communities on the issues of traditional knowledge during her latest visit to the Ha'apai Island Group for her Whelote research. That was the latest news with Radio and Television Tonga News for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening.